50 Penny on Clive Davis and Diddy's gay relationship. The music business has changed throughout the long term, thus have its activities of it. Most likely, it has become detestable. For a long time, there have been bits of hearsay whirling around about the Illuminati, blood underscore underscore underscore, and secret powers that the rich and fruitful approach. Yet regardless of how far you get into the paranoid fears, you can never understand what's valid and what's clearly false. Numerous web-based scholars have been endeavoring to be aware, assuming that is there profound detestable in the business that includes religions and otherworldly wicked powers. Perhaps or perhaps not. Yet we should not deny the more clear wrongs that have been tormenting the music business for quite a long time or more. What's more, it is rape that newbies needed to manage to sign with eminent marks. Indeed, something almost identical occurred with the American rapper, entertainer, record maker, and record leader, Scene Love Brushes, additionally realized by his stage names Puff Daddy or Diddy. Another outrage is preparing which says that Diddy had to have a gay relationship with Clive Davis, who is an American record maker, chief, and music industry leader. As indicated by reports, Diddy was battling with his music vocation when he started. Around then, Clive Davis gave him a circulation bargain that was purportedly for 10 to 15 million bucks, and from that point onward, the terrible kid's period of strength started. Curtis James Jackson IUI, referred to expertly as 50 Penny, additionally focused on how Diddy needed to twist kneeling down before Clive Davis to save his record name. He affirmed that Diddy and Clive dated each other for a considerable length of time. What truly occurred between them? Is Clive Davis gay? For what reason are there such countless gay charges on Diddy? Indeed, get the bundle of your number one tidbit or bowl of popcorn, as we will jump profoundly into this and dissect what truly occurred between them. Remain with us, and prior to making any ends, make a point to watch the video till the end. On the off chance that you don't have the foggiest idea, nobody was greater than Terrible Kid Records during the 90s. This was the group that essentially controlled standard hip bounce music at that point. Driven by organizer Scene Puff Titty Brushes, Terrible Kid was a record mark loaded with names like Maze, The Famous Big, and bunches like 1 to 12. Many individuals don't realize that Diddy needed to battle a ton to make such a major name. In his initial striving days, he was a representative at Andrew Harrell's Uptown Records, moving gradually up from an assistant to VP of ability and showcasing. Smacking AMCA Records chief upside the head during a contention and a debate originating from the infamous Big's debut collection being retired prompted his inevitable terminating. How did a 23-year-old craftsman come to the highest point of the business? Indeed, this is a result of his accommodating binds with Clive David. As per Andrew Harrell, when Puff got terminated, he was on finance, and his specialists were on finance. He's actually recording his craftsmen, and he had the option to track down the best arrangement. Along these lines, I never terminated him to hurt him. I terminated him and essentially made him rich. All things considered, subsequent to losing his employment, he shopped Terrible Kid Records around and wound up gathering with music legend Clive Davis at Arista Records. Clive was not exactly acquainted with Diddy's work, but rather still plumped down with him and chose to allow him an opportunity. He said, "I didn't have a clue about that much about Puffy." I took the gathering, and it was no doubt that he had the vision that a hip jump upheaval was coming. He really wanted my skill to overcome top 40. I had one or two serious doubts. So I asked Puffy, "What music do you have?" He played me Flava in Ya Ear by Craig Mack. That sold me. Clive gave Diddy a circulation bargain that was purportedly for 10 to 15 million bucks. consequently starting Terrible Kid's period of strength. Indeed, many individuals don't realize that Clive Davis was a commonly recognized name because of his part in the making of a few milestone accounts. He filled in as Columbia Records leader from 1967 through 1973. From 1974 until the foundation of J Records in 2000, he filled in as the organization's pioneer and president. Clive filled in as the executive and president of the RCA Music Gathering, J Records, and B&G North America from 2002 to April 2008. Yet he made Arista Records with $10 million in subsidizing from Columbia Pictures in the wake of leaving CBS. He held a 20% value share. On account of entertainers like Barry Manilow, Air Supply, Dionne Warwick, and Aretha Franklin, Arista would proceed to appreciate gigantic progress in the last part of the 1970s and mid-1980s. It was Arista who marked Whitney Houston, a 20-year-old cousin of Warwick. Luckily, marking her was their greatest break. The 1985 self-named collection by Whitney would proceed to around the world sell in excess of 22 million duplicates. For Arista, Whitney would sell 200 million records without help from anyone else. Arista Records helped many names. For instance, Clive gave Diddy a conveyance bargain and $15 million. He did it since he saw incredible accomplishment with Terrible Kid thanks to artists like Maze, 112, The Famous Big, and Confidence Evans. In 2000, he established J Records, and he right now works for Sony Music as its boss imaginative official. He is a Rowdy Lobby of Distinction inductee and the beneficiary of 5 Grammy grants. The bits of gossip about Clive Davis dating Diddy began when Clive emerged as sexually open. He uncovered his actual sexual character in a journal when he was only 80 years of age. He said that following 50 years of associations with ladies, he is presently the drawn-out accomplice of another man. In his new book, The Soundtrack of My Life, Davis reviews that his most memorable time engaging in sexual relations with a man was during the period of Studio 54, when he was hitched to his subsequent spouse, Janet Adelberg. He expressed on this evening, subsequent to soaking up sufficient liquor, I was available to answering his sexual suggestions. Is it true or not that I was apprehensive? Totally. Did the rain comes down? No, be that as it may, it was fulfilling. As per a few sources, this experience provoked a time of soul-looking and self-examination, and subsequent